Hey, today I'm going to show you a great free tool to practice your gesture drawing. And in addition to it being free and on the internet, it also comes with a certification. Stay tuned.
Damn, another day in the life.
I ain't getting out of bed today.
Keep waking up from the previous night.
Okay, like I mentioned, this is free on the internet. So you're just going to open up your browser and go to quickposes.com. Now, once we get here, this tool is suitable for both digital, drawing, and traditional. It doesn't really matter. The purpose of the website is to basically give you a pose, a figure to draw in certain time increments, which you could set yourself. And with the thought that you're not really trying to get the figure down or the contour, you're just trying to get the quick gesture, the flow, the movement. What's nice about this, and I'll now start to walk you through it, is that you have these daily challenges and you have this time practice. And basically, within this time practice is where you can kind of set what you want to happen. If it's outside of challenges or time practice, it doesn't count towards your daily certification. We'll go there in a minute. So within time practice, I can pick male, female, both, nude, clothes, partial, animals, hands, feet. I mean, really whatever it is that you're trying to practice happens here. For the purpose of this video, I'm not going to pick nude because I'm not sure if with the new YouTube rules, if that's going to get flagged or not. So I need to find out about that first. So down here in this section, achievements is basically where you're going to track all your progress. So you can see I have a 41-day streak going, and how that works is you basically have a 30-minute mandatory, not mandatory, but if you're trying to keep the streak, you want to keep the 30 minutes a day minimum. As you build up your days, your streaks, you get what I'll call multipliers. So in other words, if you're gunning for one of these certifications, you need to put more time in. That's basically what it's judged on. It's not judged on how the gesture's drawn or how none of that. It's based on basically you putting the time in, which is what I like about it. So, for example, after a certain amount of days, I'm not really sure, 3, 4, 5 days, they start to give you, instead of 30 minutes a day, maybe now you can do 35. And then a couple days later, you can do up to 40 minutes. And it goes all the way up to, what am I up to now, 60 minutes? You don't have to hit the full 60 minutes to get your daily streak and your multiplier going. And if you happen to miss it, the worst that happens really is you don't lose progress on your certification. You lose your streak. So that basically starts over. So it's not a killer. I tend to go about 40 minutes. Right now my gesture is so I'm doing time practices and challenges at 2 minutes a day to try to get my act together. And I'll show you that in a second. So we'll see what the certifications look like. This is what's really nice. First of all, this is free. And what happens is once you get to a certain achievement, you can print these things out. And what I like about this is very similar to the writing stuff I do with NaNoWriMo. It's not based on judging work, because art is subjective and that's bullshit. But it's based on you basically putting the time in. And that's what I really like about it. I like anything that rewards you on you getting in a chair and actually doing the work for a certain period of time. So this has kept me now drawing for 41 days. And it's been quite successful for me. So I haven't printed this one out yet, but some people on the Facebook page, Create Now, Sleep Later, have asked me, hey, where are you getting these certifications? Are you going to school or whatever? No, it's just self-study, and, I found this nice website somehow, and, I'm kind of sticking with it. Just for full transparency, I'll be using this even if I use other gesture references, such as a book or anything like that. As long as I'm doing work that's applicable to gesture drawing in this site, I don't mind running the timer. So it's a bit of an honor system, and I'll show you that. So if we go to challenges, again, these do count towards your daily streak certification. And you can pick female silhouette. Again, those are going to be nude. Erotic, I think, kind of speaks for itself. It's not like porn or anything, but I mean, you know, the girls are naked and they're, you know, in sort of these subjective poses. I haven't done any of these other ones, but when I'm trying to keep it, you know, PG, I can go to here. I can pick clothes and costumes. I'll pick all. We'll do 120 because I talk too much and, you know, I'm not going to make it anyway. And then what happens is basically you're going to hit start. When you hit start, the clock is running. So we'll do one of this pirate guy. I like the night theme, okay, because I can't stand the daytime. And then basically I have something like Sketchbook Pro open, okay. So when we start kind of doodling this out, okay, I'm going to follow the collarbone. You know, with gesture something you want to exaggerate. So we're going to bring it down to where the weight is. You're always looking for the weight. All right. We're going to bring this foot kind of goes over here like that. Okay. And again, I'm not doing a lot of, you know, with a gesture, you're not really trying to capture a lot of information. You're trying to capture the movement. So even if you don't get the figure done, you know, even with this slight gesture that we have here, we can see that, you know, for the most part, I've captured the motion of the figure, which is really all that I'm looking for. Now this guy's got a suit on, so no need to go and capture the whole knee. Okay, we're going to keep this going. And you can see down below, I'm going to just point to it here, that's basically the timer you have. So you can see, you know, when you're running out, how much longer you have to go. We're going to get this guy's sword going. Okay. And again, trying to talk and record in draws, you know, like I've alluded to in my other videos, is a little difficult for me. But, you know, basically that's really going to be it for that pose. I'm not going to go much. We can go capture this silly little fluffy thing. Now, what I usually do is I'm not trying to keep these things, so I usually just clear it. I mean, some I save for whatever purposes. The head is very important here, but anything with gesture, you want to follow the rhythm of the spine, basically. So I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of the bean system, and we'll talk about that in another video. It's just a little out of scope, but all while we're doing this, Quickposes is tracking your time. So again, I'm probably putting a little too much information here as far as capturing. I'm getting a little bit more than a flow. That's just old habits, which is why you do that. Look, if you draw the human body for half an hour a day, and you can never get worse at something you do every day. I mean, that's basically the point of it, you know. But you're not trying to. This isn't true figure drawing. To me, this is a precursor. So when I talk about the contour, I'm talking about the sort of outside line of it. We have time, yeah. We'll bang this guy out real quick. So when I'm talking about contour, I'm not talking about going in here and fleshing out this guy's muscles. I mean, certainly if you have, you know, a little bit extra time, you can do that, but that's not really the point of the exercise. The point of the exercise is to get down the movement, you know, the motion of the figure. This will, I tend to put squares here for where my knees are. This is much more information. You know, when you start doing 60 or 30 seconds, you're not going to capture, you know, anywhere near this kind of information. But where this is going to really help you is helping, number one, you have a general idea of what the human figure looks like, and it's going to help your figures and your drawings in general look more dynamic. Now this guy is just, I mean, he's out of his mind. So this is an example where we're going to really exaggerate, okay, the pose. Now what I'm looking for here is I'm kind of looking for the rib cage, okay, which is somewhere around here, all right. And then there are times when I'll use the bean, and there are times where I will use sort of a circle in the middle. And I'll go through that in detail in another video, but basically there's really no wrong way to do it. Your primary objective is to catch the form. Now this guy's got these crazy ninja pants on that are a bit falling down, but so we're going to get that in. His feet are a little crazy, in the pose that they are, but we want to capture, basically the weight of it. Okay? And now, what I'll do here, especially since I have a little time, I'm not really worried about if I get everything in the right place. So ordinarily, if I was building a figure, I might get a little bit more anal with this, but you see how his arm, this is perspective now. And what I might do is, especially if I have a little, I'm doing 2-minute poses here, so I have a little bit more time. What I'll do is I'll use these sort of half circles to indicate that this is going in perspective. It helps me practice, and it helps me learn when I have to do something that's three-dimensional. I'm just using the best part of my time. Okay, so we're going to build out the deltoid here, and then the chest is going to connect to the bones. So whenever you have the arms being raised up, it's going to raise the pectoral muscles are going to stretch in that direction. And basically there it is. We have the basic pose. Now, I'm not even going to attempt this in this video, this guy. We'll try her. Okay, so her head, we'll start with the head. And we're going to go down, right? And now her neck is really at a tight bend. Now the female figure, the key thing you want to remember always is that the torso is wider than the shoulders, which is your main, everybody says to make it softer and to make it, and all of that's true, but really the biggest thing you want to get out of it is that it actually looks like a woman. So when you're doing gesture, I wouldn't necessarily concentrate so much on, making it softer. And nobody can really, nobody's really going to be able to tell from a gesture, but you should be able to capture the motion, and it should at least look like a female. So here, I'm not going to erase any of that. It's just a gesture. And now what I'm going to do from where the trapezius is and the shoulder muscles, I'm going to pull. Okay, because I'm trying to really establish that she's, that the weight of her pose is dependent on where her hands are. Okay, I'm going to cheat. And we're not going to, do a whole lot of information as far as hands go. But if this doesn't look like a real arm, it's really okay. You're using C curves and S curves to define where everything is. And now, Proco, if anybody follows Proco, he often describes the breast as sort of a upside down heart. And I do use that sometimes, but sometimes it really depends on the pose. So we don't have a lot of time left. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll take this marker and I'll just throw in some hair, just to give it a little depth. Change back. I'm going to save this one because I like how it came out. Now this guy, I'm going to show you a little something different. Okay, so you can see his chin and the perspective he's in. Okay. Now he's clearly going this way, and then now we're going to use the ball. Okay, and the ball is, you could think about it like an action figure. Okay, the ball is going to be where it tilts. Okay, so this is just a little bit different. I'm going to use an S curve here. And I'm going to come straight down. Again, I'm not trying to capture a lot of information. I'm going to use an S curve. And we'll go over what all these curves are. The main point of the video is to show you this this application and how we use it. Now I'm going to go from the point, okay, here's this guy's clavicle, okay, where the shoulders are going to kind of come out. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go the line of the arm a little past where it normally would be. So, you know, when we're building a figure, usually we're trying to be anatomically correct. But what I'm doing is I'm just connecting them. So I know where the elbow is going to be. And instead of worrying about, I'm doing the same thing here, I'm just going to go down, okay? And then we're going to come here. So you see what I did there? I brought the arm of where the triceps would be lower to where I knew the elbow was going to be, because I'm just trying to capture the motion. We'll draw this guy's funny little jacket, and then we'll call it a day. And I mean, basically we get, I mean, guy's got like Bigfoot here, but I think you know what I'm saying. You basically, I'm not going that. That's too easy. Getting a bad run here of drawings, but alright, now this is, I mean, if I can do this, this is ridiculous. So for this, because this is such a dynamic, I'm actually going to map it out here. Alright? So I'm going to put basically where I think the torso is going to end. Alright? And then her arm is actually starting behind the figure where you can't see it. So we're just going to throw a little line there. And then the next part of her, you won't see it, but the next part of her arm kind of begins here. And we're just going to put, you know, right now. And then you're really following now where exactly the spine is going. Okay? Now you can't see it because she's got these clothes on, but the most important thing here is to follow this to see where the weight goes. Okay, so we're going to go like this and like that, because if you don't have the weight of the figure down, it's not going to look right. It's not going to look balanced. And don't feel like you have to finish it. Again, you're not worried about contour. You're not really worried about the figure. So you're just worried about getting the pose down. The motion of the drawing, the flow, the gesture. So I can't really see where her, we'll guess here, okay, because I can see where her rib cage is. And then we'll do the rest of her dress. And basically there it is. Now her shoulders are at a very angled position. So I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to draw a little circle here, but what I'm basically doing is forming out another C-curve. Because for this pose to work, I have to capture the dynamics of it. Otherwise it just doesn't fit. So we'll follow our C-curve up. We'll bring this down. Like I said, this is 2 minutes right now, folks, so if it seems like I'm rushing or I stop talking or whatever, it's because I got to get this pose down. And now for here, I know her hand's going to land here, so I'm actually going to do the opposite. I'm just going to swing this out and then make the rest of it join like that. Now see, this wouldn't be anatomically correct, but it works. You know, you can see that it's bigger here because that's the way her particular type of build is. You know, she's got kind of athletic shoulders. And then we're going to use the kind of Proco method, the upside down heart. basically there it is. Well, we'll get the little, there we go. And you get the basic gist of it. So I'm not going to go through this whole thing. I mean, obviously, I want to get into more actual structure videos and some other ways you can get started. But I'll stop the session here. And what's neat is, if there was a pose you wanted to finish, now the timer's off, so this is no longer counting towards my daily goal or my streak. But say, for example, I wanted to go back to this guy and finish it up, or add a little bit more detail or get the picture, you can do that. In addition, every time you're finished, you can create a set of some of your favorite poses or figures from, you know, what they've just shown you, and you can keep skipping. When you skip, it doesn't count towards the timer. So if you decide a minute in that you basically gave up on this thing, it's not going to count towards your streak or your time for the day. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful. It's helpful for me because it's kept me drawing every day. It's free. Anybody with a browser can use it. It's not dependent on digital tools. So if you have a sketch pad that you just want to fill out with, with poses, I mean, this works great. So thank you for watching. You know, if you liked the video, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.
Another day, damn, keep waking up from the